What's going on, my fellow Kino Lords? So I just got out of an advanced screening in IMAX for Beau is Afraid, which is written and directed by the man himself, Ari Aster. And I'm not even going to beat around the bush. This was arguably my most anticipated film of the year. I thought it was going to come out last year, but it got delayed, and now we're here finally with Beau is Afraid. And this film, just to cut right to the chase, is definitely, not only is it unlike anything you've seen from Ari Aster, but it's unlike any film that you're ever gonna see in the history of your life. um, this film is kind of, it just kind of makes you speechless in a way, but at the same time gives you so much to discuss and just so much to talk about. Um, First and foremost, this film is one of the most bonkers and horrific yet most hilarious films I've ever seen. This film just, once you think it just delivers the most absurd thing yet, it just keeps up in the ante and just amplifies the sheer absurdity and pitch black comedy that this film offers. I mean, it's like an extremely chaotic and surreal and nightmarish piece of filmmaking. It's from start to finish, it's just, I mean, this is a 3-hour film, folks. This film is exactly 3 hours long, and for me personally, there is never a dull moment in this movie. It is constantly engaging, uh, constantly hilarious, constantly disturbing, um, constantly unpredictable in so many different ways. It just subverts your expectations. Um, and it's just, even though this film is surreal as hell and feels otherworldly, it it basically tackles like some of the most deep rooted issues, of the human psyche, that has to do with uh, child abuse and how the seeded child abuse contributes to an everlasting, unwarranted feeling of guilt. Um, Obviously, motherhood is a huge thing in this film, and also the projection of guilt from a parent to a child, and just the psychological effect that has on the child for the rest of their life. Um, I mean, this film is, it's hard to really react to in an insightful way just coming out of the theater, because it's just, there's just so much going on. I mean, the film just keeps coming at you. It's just nonstop. It's just like, again, as I mentioned, once you think that you've seen the crazy shit this film has to offer, it's just like, bam, the next thing. It just comes right at you and just fucking completely blows your fucking mind that this even got made, which is a whole other thing. I am just in sheer shock that, and I mean, in a proud way, I feel privileged to be able to see a film like this, of this level of just sheer audacity and creativity, be made in the year 2023. I mean, huge. I tip my hat to A24 and all the producers that were involved in investing in this project, because seems like a film that would be impossible to pitch to anybody, just because of how outrageous it is. And again, even with the length of the film, it's already a hard enough sell, and to make a film that's this outrageous and absurd, 3 hours long, I mean, I just can't believe this film got made, and I just think it's awesome that I was able to witness it. Joaquin Phoenix gives an excellent performance in this film. He just, in the entire runtime of this film, he has to basically act horrified and speechless. Like, a lot of this film, he can barely get words out of his mouth, and it just seemed like a very stressful performance overall. But he kills it. There's not a single moment in this film where you don't buy his performance. This is a great performer. It's probably one of my favorite Joaquin Phoenix performances. He is incredible in this film. I think it's great casting. Um, yeah, Joaquin Phoenix is great. I mean, obviously Ari Aster's direction and his writing is also really great here too. To me, in my opinion, he's a very mature writer who I feel like does have a good understanding, of deep rooted human issues. Obviously this film I guess you wouldn't say is his most mature film, but it still deals with mature themes that I think are tackled in a way that I found meaningful. Because this film overall, it's a meaningful film that is also at the same time nonsensical. Again, it's a film, as I mentioned, makes you speechless, but also you also just can't stop talking about it. Um, it just this film, it's a great dichotomy. But yeah, this film is just, in my opinion, is exceptional. I mean, it's not just by its very nature, it's not going to be for everybody, but there is some visionary craftsmanship happening here, and Ari Aster is one talented beast. This dude is a brilliant artist, in my opinion. I can't even wrap my head around the amount of creativity that was poured into making a film like this. I don't even know how he was able to come up with half of the ideas that are in this movie. I mean, it is kind of like mind blowing in that respect. I mean, the scope of this film in terms of vision is just fucking, it's mind blowing to me. But yeah, I mean, there's so many memorable sequences in this film. There's one sequence basically in the second act of this film, where, I guess without spoiling it, but I'll just say it takes place on a type of stage play, and that entire sequence was hypnotizing and mesmerizing, and I really, really loved it. I thought it was just, again, just very creative, immersive, atmospheric, and aesthetic filmmaking that works incredibly well. Um, yeah, this film, I'm in love with this film, guys. I am deeply, deeply in love with this film. I think it's fantastic. Again, as I was trying to touch upon earlier, it's going to be a divisive one, especially with what happens in the third act. I think the third act is going to be the most divisive act of the film. It is, I can't even describe the sheer level of absurdity that we experience in the third act. I'll just say there's a revelation that occurs in the third act that it's just gonna it's gonna make, I mean, I could see people just flipping the bird to this movie when that scene happens, but to me it was just like, I just respected the sheer audacity of it, and just kind of contributed as a huge reason as to why I love this film. It establishes the absurdity very quick, to the point where, you know, for me personally, I was just down with whatever the fuck this movie was gonna do, and personally, I loved it. I really, really loved it. Um, yeah, God, it's just, again, I apologize that this review is kind of scatterbrained, but this is a bit of a scatterbrained film. It's hard to really structure a cohesive, organized review from what I just witnessed. But it's, to me, it's one of a kind. Like, if I had to compare it to really anything else, it reminded me a lot of, like, it was very Hodorowski-esque. In terms of just how just batshit it is on every phase. I guess I could compare it to The Holy Mountain. Um, even I watched this with Jen, and she compared it to the house that Jack built from Lars von Trier. And yeah, I can understand that too, especially with kind of the symbolic and metaphorical route and interpretive route it goes down in the third act. Really, this entire film was interpretable and metaphorical in a lot of ways as well. But um, this movie, again, I want to touch on also how funny this movie is. It's consistently hilarious. Ari Aster he's proving himself also to be a brilliant comedic writer and director as well. This is his first time really tackling comedy on this level, and he destroys it. He's so fucking good at writing comedy. The dark comedy in this film, the satire, is just brilliantly done. Just really, really well written, and well realized dark comedy throughout the entire film. And yeah, like, I would definitely describe this film more as a dark comedy than a horror. There's definitely horror to this film. I don't want to downplay that, but this film is definitely, I believe, more dedicated to the more humorous side of horror than like the more sincere side of it. Um, and I was all here for it. It's just a really, really well executed creative vision that I am just again, I feel honored being able to watch it. It's insanity, guys. It's insanity. I don't know. I think if you already love Ari Aster, you're going to love this movie. Even though, again, if I get, I mean, I said it's unlike any Ari Aster film I've seen, but if I had to compare it to any of his other films, it would be actually maybe like his short films, like The Strange Thing About the Johnson, something like that. But yeah. Other than that, though, like it's just like I swear to God, it's when you after you're done watching this movie, you're gonna agree that it's unlike anything you'll ever see. At least unlike 90% of the things that you'll ever witness on screen. But yeah, I can't wait to hear everyone's thoughts on this film. This is a doozy. This really is a doozy. Um, damn, like this is a masterwork in my opinion. Um, really cool to see something like this on the big screen. And yeah, I mean, I could go on and on probably about this film, but I feel like I'm kind of overstaying my welcome right now. But yeah, I really loved this film. Creatively, it's fucking amazing. Visually, it's amazing. I haven't even touched upon the visuals. Visually, it's fantastic. The sound design, really great. It's metaphorical and symbolic as hell. It's hilarious. Joaquin Phoenix gives an excellent performance. The acting all around is really, really great. Absurdity is so good. It's just overall, I just really love it. I'm gonna give Beau is Afraid. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. I was really thinking about it for a long time, and I was like, I don't know. I'm trying to be like, I don't want to come off too personal and too biased, but man, this film really delivered all it had, and I don't know. I respect this film and Ari Aster as an artist so much for what he accomplished here. It was just something that it embodies so much of what I love about the art of filmmaking, creatively speaking. It's an honor to see something like this be made. And, I'm not going to I'm not going to say that this is a perfect movie in the more objective sense, but personally, I really couldn't have asked for more. I think what Ari Aster went for, he achieved perfectly, and I enjoyed pretty much every second of this movie. I just think it's really, really well done. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, even though it might be on the more personal rating side. I just can't help it. I respect this film so much and the artist behind it. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about Beau is Afraid. Again, I cannot wait to hear what everybody thinks about this movie. It's a psychological mosh podge and scatterbrained exploration of a someone who is afraid of the world and feels guilty because of an abusive childhood experience from his mother. And I can't wait to hear what everybody thinks about it. But yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching this review. If you really enjoyed what I had to say about Beau is Afraid, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.